This might seem like a faraway place in a faraway land. My house is right there in the middle. It was the 1992 LA riots. And I remember being 8 years old and looking out there and thinking to myself, this is it. This is game over. I'm done. The military came in, the cops came in, and I thought they were going to save us. And for some reason, they kept on pointing the guns at my people. So I grew up angry. I grew up mad. I struggled watching my parents pay rent at the end of the month. Sometimes they had to take food out of their mouth so that my two younger sisters and I could eat. And the people that I saw taking care of their family and taking care of business were the gang members. So I consider that as a career path, not because they were the ones that, had the girls or had the cars, but because they were the ones that took care of their families. And I love my family enough to even consider that as a possibility. But it wasn't always bad. If you haven't put two and two together, I'm a Dodger fan. I like the Dodgers even more so because Dodger Stadium sits in the middle of Elysian Park, one of the biggest parks in LA. And I remember going out on the weekends with my family and for the carne asadas and sharing our cultura and them taking me on trails and showing me all this amazing stuff that they knew. I went to Dorsey High School. You might not know Dorsey that much, but you might know Crenshaw High School. And Crenshaw and Dorsey are rival high schools, but they're more than just rivals in the traditional sense of rival high schools. They're the birthplace of the Bloods and the Cribs. And so I was in ninth grade detention, and they gave me an ultimatum. They said, either you stay in detention, or you go to this thing called Eco Club. And I said, what, Eco Club? Forget you. But I took a chance, and I went over to Eco Club. And the first thing that they said was, grab a bag of seeds and let's go out. And I picked jalapenos. Because I wanted a girl salsa for my mom at the end of that. And they tricked me. Then all of a sudden, I started worrying about photosynthesis and the pH balance and the UV radiation and all this different stuff that would make my jalapenos grow. And at the end of that semester, they gave me an opportunity to go to the Teton Science Schools in Wyoming for a kid who's never been out of South Central, to see mountains for the first time, to look up at the night sky and count. I couldn't even count the stars. For the first time in my life, at the age of 15, I saw more stars than I could count. I had to pinch myself and look at that shooting star and say, no, that's not the ghetto bird coming up at me. And the ghetto bird, you won't find it in the Audubon book. It's a police helicopter, in case you don't know. And I went back home, and I found mentors and friends and family and people who supported me in this. And in 2005, this guy named Richard Louv wrote a book called Last Child in the Woods. And he coined a phrase called nature deficit disorder. And it's not a medical term. Don't worry, you don't have to take drugs for it. It's an easy fix. All you have to do is get outside. Because we have 7 billion people in the world today. But if you were to put all of those 7 billion people shoulder to shoulder with each other, they can all fit in the city of LA. So it's not necessarily that we're running out of space, it's how we're using that space up. Average US teenager now spends somewhere between 40 and 65 hours a week connected to some kind of media device, some kind of technology. That's a full-time job. We're not saying that it's bad. We're just saying get out, have fun. And I got together with some friends, and we created this thing called the Natural Leaders Network. And we wanted to find out how other people are getting outside all over the world. We thought it was just us here in the US, but no, it's all over the world. And we started getting amazing things back. The beaches, the mountains, in the middle of the city, how people got out, And just the pure joy of celebrating our connection with nature. And it all started with that one group. And I want to give you this new motivation about a new nature movement and 7 reasons for a new nature movement. You can create your own reasons, but these are 7 reasons that we're talking about. And I'm going to speed up a little bit because of time, but take it from these kids. Let's go get outside. In last year, I got to climb the Grand Teton. I went from being that kid from South Central, realizing that somehow I was connected to those mountains, that my community in South Central LA was connected to the mountains up there. And it all made sense. The world made sense to me. Science and math and history and English and all of the different things that were happening in this world made sense to me because of that. I went on to be the first one to graduate from my family in high school. First one, I'm a National Geographic Explorer today. I do these amazing talks, and I'm not telling you these things so I can brag about it or I can show off. I'm telling you these things because if a kid from South Central who was about to be a gang member can grow up to be a National Geographic Explorer and sit here in front of you and address you like I am today, then don't ever, ever in your life doubt what you can do. At the end of the day, I do what I do because of my family. My family means the world to me. And from this day forward, each one of you in this room is part of that family. I want you to go away with that, and I'll leave it with this one quote, which has driven me to this point. Once social change begins, it cannot be reversed. You cannot uneducate the person who has learned to read. You cannot humiliate the person who feels pride. You cannot oppress the people who are not afraid anymore. We have seen the future, and the future is ours. It's your future. It's our future. So go get them.